Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today I want to talk a little bit about air changes, which is a new approach to changing between your chords. Up until this point, I've suggested that you always place the fingers down in finger number order. So first finger first, then second finger, then the third finger. And that's a great system for beginners. It gives you a foolproof system that you can always stick to. But the truth of the matter is that actually you want the fingers to go down all at the same time. And that's where air changes comes into play. So let's just have a little look. If we're looking, say, at a C chord to a D chord, here's a C chord. Now when I go to a D chord, I don't lift off my fingers and go first finger, second finger, third finger. If I go to the C chord, it doesn't go off and then go first finger, second finger, third finger. Now, it's okay if you were doing that. That's what I asked you to do. Okay, be cool with that. But now what we're looking for is moving to the D chord. You can see here, look, the D chord is already formed and the fingers are going to go down all together. Here, now we're going to go back to the C chord. Already the fingers are getting roughly into the right place and then they go down on the right strings. Again, so to the D chord, you can see they get into position in the air. Okay, if I go to the G chord, look, here they are. They're already, there's the E chord, the G chord rather. If we go to the E chord, I promise I will learn the names of these chords one day. There's E to A minor, pretty simple. What about to D? There's already the chord shapes in the air. To C, to E. So you can see now that the actual shapes are forming in the air before we get to the chords themselves. And this works even with more complicated chords as well. This isn't just for beginner chords. In fact, the more complicated chords you get, the more important it is that the fingers get roughly into position before they get there. Now, this approach is something that you can practice a little bit on its own. Okay, so just making a start on, pick a chord change that you like, say D to A. Now, if you start going through that, you'll notice straight away now that my anchor finger is lifting off. Okay, so I'm no longer doing this. Now, it's okay to keep the anchor finger down. If you find that a lot more comfortable, then you can stick with doing that. But notice now, second and third fingers are changing at the same time and going down together. It's not 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, it's 2 and 3 together now when we're making those changes. So my suggestion will be that you pick a pair of chords, something that you're reasonably confident with already, and then sit down and have an explore of trying this air changes, making the changes in the air. Once you're familiar with the concept and you feel like it's getting fairly comfortable, then have a go at doing it for 1 minute changes, but trying to force yourself to use this approach where the chords are changing in the air as you go. So you're still trying to push the speed a little bit. You're trying to get the fingers moving fast. Longer term, this is the fastest way of getting the chord changes. If I'm really going as fast as I can to C to D, there's no way of getting the fingers to go down one at a time. They have to just get the shape of the chord and straight there. They're already, you know, the chord shapes are forming in the air. The fingers know where to go. Your fingers know where to go already. You've done enough practice on this already that in there somewhere is the instructions in your brain telling your fingers where to go. Okay, where to position themselves on the fretboard. So now it's just the next level up of trying to train them to get there as fast as you can, all at the same time. Now, this isn't a requisite for passing grade 1, but it's something that you want to think about in the consolidation phase. While you're sitting there and practicing through, making sure that all of your grade 1 materials are strong, you want to be thinking about trying to get your air changes working. Okay, I used to teach it a lot later in the course, but I found that by teaching it a bit earlier and introducing the idea of it will mean that you get it together a lot sooner. Okay, so don't be stressed if you can't do it. You're probably going to find it quite difficult. Like everything that you learn on guitar, when you first have a go at it, it's like, oh, I can't do it, my fingers don't work. It feels really awkward. That's okay. This is one of those aspirational things. This is what you want to be targeting, and keep in your mind that some of you might find that your fingers are already doing it, and you might be trying not to do it, to put your fingers down in finger order. And you don't have to. Trying to teach your fingers to form the chord shapes in the air so that the fingers all go down in the right place at the right time for any given chord is the desired goal. So just spend a little bit of time on your practice routine. Pick some chord changes. Probably the easiest ones are the ones where all the fingers come off anyway. So like C to G is a good one. You've got no danger of there being any anchor fingers. So just looking at the chord shape and trying to lift them all up and trying to get the fingers to go where they need to go in the air, looking at it, just moving it really slowly to start off with. Trying to get there, like move them to the right place. So it's like this smooth journey between the chord changes. It doesn't want to be all lumpy and, it wants to be trying to get fluid and nice and smooth with the chord changes. Again, that's only going to come with practice. Okay, so maybe start practicing it right away. I hope this helps you speed up. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Some of you might have figured this out already, but many people haven't, looking at the comments earlier on in this course. So what we're talking about is the open strings that occur while you're changing chords. And it's okay, because everybody does it. It's on loads of records and it's nothing to worry about. So if you're going to strum an up strum on the and after 4, so 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, that and very often is open strings. Okay, especially at a faster tempo where it just kind of glistens past, you don't even really notice it. So if I was doing C to E, you don't even hear there's anything wrong there. But if I slowed it right down, you'd hear. I'm exaggerating it now. You really don't notice that. It's perfectly all right for it to be in there. Now that I've made you aware of it, you'll probably hear it on loads and loads of great records. You hear this little bit where the fingers come up, and it's okay. If you're going really slowly, kind of sounds a little bit weird, and I was exaggerating it there. You're probably on that up strum after 4. You don't want to be really hitting that super hard anyway. So it's going to be a very light strum, probably only on the thinner strings as well. When I was exaggerating it, I was tending to strum all of the strings. But most times, upper strums, just the thinnest few strings anyway. So all you're adding is this in between. Slow it down. Now, I've been playing for a long time. I can probably make the chord changes if I really try. Unless it's ludicrously fast, I could jump my fingers over to get to it. But it actually doesn't sound so good. If I go... it just makes it lumpy and jerky, and that kind of nice relaxed feeling that I'm looking for when I'm playing disappears. Because I've got to be so focused on trying to get this change, and it gets all tense, and the whole music thing is about it being nice and relaxed and comfortable and feeling good. And if you suddenly start trying to put all of this pressure and tension on something insignificant like a chord change, like, you're really spoiling the pudding there. Okay, so be aware that it's okay for that to happen. You'll find that there are times where things that are wrong can sound really good. Okay? A lot of it is just down to what it sounds like. Because music is about sound. So occasionally you might find things that are, wrong. But they sound cool. Particularly if you're getting into creativity and writing. You might find sometimes you play an E chord and you put it down on a fret too high. You go, oh God, that sounds horrible. But if you listen, that actually sounds pretty beautiful. So there's suddenly these things where it might not have been right, but it's still going to be fine. Okay? Remember to use your ears. Don't be upset about things unless they sound bad. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today I want to talk a little bit about strumming development because we've covered a lot of ground when it comes to strumming, mainly because I taught you the secret of strumming, which is that if you keep your hand moving, you can strum almost any strums that you want in a pattern and it's going to sound pretty cool. You'll find that there are some strumming patterns that would still feel pretty awkward and a lot that you would struggle to apply to songs, but that's kind of normal. But the biggest deal with strumming is making it feel nice, is being relaxed. And for most beginners, that's the hardest thing. For me in the left-handed journey, it's the hardest thing. My arm feels tense when I'm trying to strum, and what I'm searching for when I'm practicing is making it feel loose and relaxed. That's pretty much the only thing I'm really concerned with when I'm doing lefty practice. Okay? When I'm strumming with this hand, it just happens automatically. This hand it's always just loose and relaxed. It knows that that's its gig. But for many beginners, that's one of the hardest parts, is to be relaxed. It's also really easy for me to say and really difficult for you to do because you're struggling with it. And some of you will be struggling with it. If you're struggling with strumming, you're going to find the arm gets really tense because you get worried about it, and you get nervous about it, and that in effect makes it a lot worse. So one of the things that I would really strongly recommend that you work on when it comes to strumming is playing to a metronome, picking a pattern that you find really simple, and trying to play it over and over again until it feels nice, and make yourself feel good when you're doing it. So let's just pick it on a sequence. Nice, old faithful, down, down, up, up, down pattern. I haven't got a metronome to hand actually, so I'll just have to do it with that one. But there's the pattern. Now, I'm really trying to feel relaxed in my shoulders, in my mind, everywhere. I'm not trying to think like 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Because then it feels all jerky and it doesn't. You can feel it, right? If I do it like that. It's just, it's all yucky. It wants to have this. It needs to be so relaxed and chilled. It really does. That's what you're aiming for. It's like sometimes my hand just feels like it's falling off, but it's trying to keep that continuous motion and just really feel good. Sorry, it's squeaky. My shoes squeaking on my guitar cable down there on the floor. One of the things that I find that when I'm practicing something that's more difficult, technically challenging, but I still want it to feel good, is I try and deliberately force myself to smile and think happy thoughts. And I know this sounds like funny hippie hurdy-gurdy stuff, but it's almost like this fake it till you make it thing can really help. If you're struggling a bit to make it relaxed, smile. I probably look like a real idiot trying to smile here, and trying to think like, that time you had a great holiday in Barbados or whatever, just really like trying to get yourself in a real happy place and trying to get your whole feeling like that, this nice relaxed comfort, old pair of slippers, it just feels really good. You'd have to try and find that in yourself in the way that you play. When people hear you playing like that, they will feel it. And that's one of the most important things, because we generally want to hear music that makes us feel good. So the people playing it have to feel good too. Now, that's not always the case. I know in some music, if you're playing with like really angry music, then the music wants to be feeling angry, therefore you'd be wanting to feel angry when you play it. So it needs to be expressed that way. So a lot of it's depending on what you want to play. More times than not, you want to feel good or you want to feel sad, and any of those you want to feel relaxed in. You want to feel comfortable in your skin and comfortable in what you're doing. Some of that's practice. Of course, when you just started out and something's technically complicated, it's going to be real difficult to relax. Really, really difficult. But at this point on your journey, you probably are starting to feel a bit more relaxed, at least with it conceptually. So now is the time to really start to dig into trying to make things relaxed. Just pick a pattern and then make it feel good. Chords don't really matter. You want to be thinking about all of that stuff that we talked about putting in minor variations in the strumming, and all of that sort of stuff can become part of that. But just playing on your own and not thinking about anything else but making it feel good is valuable practice. I know it might feel like, oh, I'd be better off doing it with a metronome or learning a new pattern or whatever, but if you can only play 3 or 4 patterns but you play them really well and they're really relaxed and they really feel good and therefore they work great when you're playing your songs, that's much better than studiously studying hundreds of strumming patterns and not really being able to use them effectively. It's much more about this, getting into the feel of it. Music really is a feeling thing. Yes, there's some technical stuff that we've got to do, but it's the feeling that you bring to it that's the really important part. That's the part that we connect with as humans. It's this magical thing that makes us feel happy or sad or relaxed or angry or whatever. That's what we're trying to tap into. And getting that relaxed feeling is a really great first step. You might want to tap into some other emotions down the line. But to start off with, for this beginner grade 1, just learning to relax with it would be a huge step. And it'll teach you a whole lot. Minor and